This conference will now be recorded.
Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs and welcome back to Python series. So guys, today I'm going to cover one very important topic in Python that is called inheritance and the example of objects of parent class, child class, and we can see that how can we achieve the inheritance in Python and uh, and we will see that Python will allow multiple inheritance or not. It means Python will uh, allow to have two parents of a single class, right? Same thing in Java, it's not available, but can we have the same problem? Can we solve the same problem in Python? Of course, we can do that, and we will see some examples over there. So first, you need to understand what do you mean by inheritance. Inheritance means, guys, to inherit something from your property. I mean, from your parents' class, right? So from my parents, I can inherit something from my right, so I can get the properties, so I don't need to implement the same method again in the child class. So this is called reusability. I can reuse my code again and again. You just need to define in your parent class, and the same method can be used inside the with the child class object also. So this is called inheritance, but there are certain rules. The first rule is that only child can inherit the properties from the parent cannot, right? Parent cannot take any properties from the child cannot take any properties from other siblings also. They cannot talk, they cannot get the they cannot inherit the properties from each other. Only you can get the properties only and only from your parent class. Got it? So let's see how can we do that, what kind of syntax we have to write, how to define such basic things. So I'm gonna do one thing. Let me create a Python file, and let's see my Python file. I'm gonna create, let's see, a person class. Okay, and let's see, or I would say inheritance concept. In this particular inheritance concept, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one class, and let's see, my class name is, I'm gonna create a class name person, like this. Okay, but here what you need to do, guys, class person, the moment I write in this particular person bracket, okay, after the class name there is a bracket, you can give one more class name that is called object, like this. Object is the super class of all the classes that you are creating in Python. Just like in Java we have object class, the super class, same thing over here. Okay, object is the super class of all the classes. Got it? So in Python 3, after Python 3.x, what exactly happened, you can write like this also, which is equivalent to your, that simple, you are creating your class, okay, a particular class person, and you can create like this also. So you can give the parent class name in the bracket. It means this person class is the child of object class. You can write it like this as well. Or if you don't want to write it internally, it is obvious that okay, yes, this particular class is the child of object class. But if you really want to write, you can write it like this also. Right. Now I'm going to create the constructor of this particular class. So simple, I'm going to create the constructor, okay, the init constructor. And let's see, this particular constructor will accept one name, the person name, and I'm simple writing self dot name is equal to name. Right. Now I'm going to create one method. Let's see, simple method def and get name method, and this get name method, it will return whatever the name, okay, self dot name, it will return. Right. Now let's see, I'm going to create one more method, simple def uh, that person is employee, something like this, whatever the okay method name you want to give, and it will return, let's see, false. Right. just to check that person is employee or not. So let's see this function, it will return false. Now I'm going to create one more class, guys, which will be the child of this particular class. Now how to do that? So let's say I'm going to create one employee class, and inside the bracket you have to write your parent class name. We don't need to use any extends keyword or something like this. Here you need to write class, the class name, and inside the bracket you have to write person. So it means we are going to inherit, okay, we are going to inherit from person class. So employee is the child class and person is the super class. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to write one method over here. Let's see, is employee method, and then I'm simple writing return, let's see, true. Right. So this is having particular method is employee method and is employee method. This is called method overriding. I have overridden this particular method, right? And this function is returning true, right? And I can inherit the property get name property from this particular person class, from this particular parent class. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write my test. Okay, let's see, test person class, and this will be my, let's see, my driver code or my test code. So I'm not going to create any class. I'm simply doing one thing. Let's see, I'm going to create one object. emp is equal to person, and let's see, the person name I'm writing Naveen. Okay, the person name is Naveen, and I'll simple print, because I'm creating the object of parent class. So can I do one thing with this particular emp dot name? Can I access? Okay, emp dot name. So if you run it, so what will happen? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's run it again from here. So Naveen is getting printed because Naveen is getting passed over here. Naveen, okay, and the name will be initialized with Naveen, and I can simple access emp.name. Makes sense? Very simple, right? And then I can do one thing with the help of emp, which is pointing to the person class, to the parent class. Emp dot whatever the method name is there, get name method is there, and comma. Let's see, in the same line I print emp dot is employee, right? So let's run it, and let's see, I'm getting Naveen, right? And emp get name is Naveen, and emp dot is employee is false. So right now I'm just creating the object of parent class. Now let's see, I'm going to create the object of child class now. So let's say I'm giving the child class emp1 is equal to employee, and this time, guys, let's say I'm creating like this. Now you can say that, okay, we don't have any constructor over here, and right, but guys, if you create it like this and if you run it, it will give you an error. It's saying that, okay, init is missing and one required argument is name. So it means either you define the init over here, or else you have to write, you have to pass the name over here. So let's say I'm passing Tom, the employee name, because ultimately it will call the parent class and it will call the parent class constructor over here, right? So what I'm going to do now, I have passed Tom over here. So Tom will be given to this, and from this to it will given to this particular name. So this name will be initialized with Tom, right? And with this employee one, now let's see, employee one dot, I'm trying to access name. So let's see what I'm getting. I'm getting Tom now. Perfect. And then in the next line, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna print, now see, employee one dot get name method. Employee one dot get name. So employee one dot get name is not available inside the employee class. It will inherit this particular property from the person class. So let's see what exactly we are getting. Okay, so person classes get name method is there, and then it should return Tom over here once again. Make sense? Now what if I ask you print employee one dot, okay, sorry, employee one dot is employee. Now if you run it, what will happen? It will return true. It will not call this particular method because we have already overridden. Okay, we have already overridden this method is employee and is employee. So what is method overriding? Same concept. In the parent class, we have the same method name, same number of arguments. That is called method overriding, and this method is called overridden method. And if you try to call with the help of child class object, the overridden method will be called, obviously. Right guys, so it will not call this particular method. That's why it's not returning false. It's simple returning true over here. Got it? So this is a very basic inheritance. We can do that. Now, some more keywords are available. I'll tell you. So first we need to check that, okay, if you really want to check that, okay, but how will you check is a particular class is a subclass of another parent class? How will you check it? So let's see some more examples. I'm going to create Python file. Let's see. Check subclass concept. So I'm going to create a class. Let's see, my class is let's see, this is a parent class. So let's say I'm writing base class and I'm defining object over here. It means object is the parent class of this particular base class. Fine, because in Python, object is the superclass of all the classes, right? And what I'm gonna do, I'm not defining anything over here and simple writing pass. I'm defining this is a empty class. So this is, I've already told you how to define an empty class. This is called empty class. Okay, this is called empty class. I'm gonna create one child class now. Now let's see, this is the base and this is the child class. So let's see, I'm creating one child class and I need to write base over here. Make sense? Base over here because base is the parent of child. So I simple writing base over here and I'm simple writing pass. So this is again your empty class. I'm not going to create any method or any class body over here. Now let's see your test code. What I'm going to do, I simple say that print, there is a keyword is subclass, guys. This is a keyword is subclass. What is subclass? I have to pass child of the child of base class. So I have to write child comma base, right? Child comma base. So is subclass is the method. It will check that this child class is the child of this particular base class or not. And then if you run it, let's run it again, you will see it's returning true, right? And if I remove this particular base from here, now let's see, it's returning false. It means this is not the child of base class. So these small things, guys, you can remember. You can actually check that is subclass is there or not, like this. Now let's see, just do the opposite of this. Sorry, I'm gonna check that the base class is the child of child class, like this. So obviously base is not the child of child class. So then if you run it here, you will get false over here. So obviously child is the child of base class, but base is not the child of child class. Make sense? Right? So syntax should be child class and then the parent class, like this. Make sense? Okay. Now let's see. I'm gonna create. Let's see. I'm gonna create. C is the object of child class. So simple. I'm gonna write C child over here, and for the base class B, I'm gonna write base over here. Right. Now there is one more method is there, that is instance method. Okay, is instance method. So simple, right? Is instance method of what? Is instance the B. B is what? Okay, B is what? Okay, B is the base class reference. So I'm gonna check that B is the instance of child class. So obviously B is not the instance of child class. So if you try to run, it will give you false once again, because B is not the instance of child class, right? So what if I'm writing like this, is instance, it means the D is the instance of, not D exactly, sorry, The C is the instance of child class. Okay, let's see. This is true because obviously C is the instance of child class. Now what I'm going to do, I simply write print is instance the C, okay, I'm talking about C, comma, base, C comma base. So now if you run it, it will return true. Although you can say that okay, C is the what? C is the object of child class. Fine, but this particular child is what? Okay, is the child of base class. So if you write it like this, C is the instance of base class, again it will return true. Ultimately, it can be referred by, so base class can be referred by base class reference as well as child class reference also over here. Make sense? So please remember these small things, guys, over here. Now, one more thing we will check, multiple inheritance in Python. Is it allowed or not? In Java, it is not allowed. It is allowed in the form of interfaces. But here, let's see, multiple inheritance concept. What do you mean by multiple inheritance concept? Means, let's say I'll give you an example. There is a parent class and these are the, let's see, there are two parents classes and this is a child class getting some property from here and getting some properties from here as well, right? So in Java this is not allowed. Okay, in Java I can at a time I can take the properties either from this particular class or from this particular class, not from both the classes. So ultimately it will create a diamond like this. So this is strictly not allowed. Inheriting the properties from two parent classes, it's not allowed in Java, but in Python this is absolutely right, this is allowed. Okay, so now let's see how can we achieve that. So to do this thing, let's see, I'm going to create one more concept over here. um, I'm going to create, let's see, simple, I'm just giving some random name. Let's see, base 1 and base 2, two parent classes I'm creating. Let's see, base 1, and both are having this particular object, and I'm going to define some init, and now see it carefully. Okay, self dot, let's see, I'm giving some, okay, str1 is the variable, is equal to, let's see, I'm giving some name is Naveen. Okay, and then in the next line I'm simple printing, let's see, I'm printing the class name base1, something like this inside the bracket. Okay, base1. So this is the first class I have written. Now I'm going to write the second class. My second class name is base2. Same thing, object over here, right? So base1 is a parent1 class and base2 is a parent2 class. Both are having the two okay, both are having the object as a parent class. And again I'm doing the same thing over here. Let me copy paste this thing, and this is, let's see, str2, and this time I'm passing, let's see, instead of Naveen I'm passing Tom, and I'm just printing the value of symbol. I'm just printing not exactly the value, I'm just printing the class name over here. Fine. Okay, now I'm going to create one child class over here. Okay, one child class. Now I want to inherit the properties from base1 as well as from base2. How will do that? So in the previous example, if you see that if you really want to inherit, right, what do you need to do? You need to write employee and the parent class name over here in the bracket. But here I'll write my first base1 comma base2. This is allowed, multiple inheritance is allowed in Python, guys, like this. Okay, so I can do that over here. So comma separated parent classes you have to write. You can write n number of classes with comma separated, right? So in this particular, let's see, I'm creating one more, I'm creating the constructor of this particular class in it, and now see it carefully. uh, I can access base1 is the class name dot underscore underscore init. I can do it like this, and I'm passing self. It means from the base1 I can call the constructor of this particular class, base1 dot constructor. Same thing, I can call from base2 constructor also from the class name. So calling the constructor of base1 and base2, okay, with the help of class name, okay, underscore underscore init and self, like this. Good. And then let's see, I'm printing some statement, print, and I'm simple writing, let's see, print child, the child class name I'm printing, and I'm creating inside the child class one method, let's see, print strings, okay, print strings, and I'm simple writing print, now see it carefully, with this particular self dot str1, okay, this particular str1 I can call, and let's see, I'm going to print comma self dot this str2 also I can print over here like this. So in the drive class I can access str1 and str2, both of the things, because I'm inheriting the properties from base1 and base2, so both the variables I can access from there, right, with the self keyword. And then what I'm going to do, I'll come out of this particular class, and I'm just creating, let's see, the object of child class. So object of child class I'm creating, and with this particular object of child class, let's see, I'm printing print string, okay, print strings method. It will call this particular method, and with this particular same self I'm gonna call str1 from base1 and str2 from base2, right? So if you run this program, what will happen, guys? If you run this program, let's see, if you run it, what is output? Output is simple. Output is first base1 will be called, so print strings, it will come over here, but before that it will call the constructor of base1 class. Okay guys, it will call the constructor of base1 class because ob equal to child I have written. The moment ob equal to child, the constructor of this particular class will be called, and it will call base1 dot init. So it will come over here, it will assign str1 is equal to Naveen, and then it will print base1, because the moment you create the object of any class, the constructor of this particular class will be called, right? So I'm creating the object of child class, so constructor of this particular init, okay, of child class will be called. It will come inside the constructor, it will call base1 dot init, so it will directly go to over there, and then it will assign str1 equal to Naveen and print base1, and we are getting base1. Then base2 dot init, it will come over here, str2 will become Tom, and then print base2. Base2 is getting printed, right? And then it's printing child. It's printing child over here, right? And then we are writing print strings. So again, it will come over here, str1 and str2 already got initialized. So simple, I'm writing self.str1 and self.str2. It's printing Naveen and Tom over here. Got it? So ultimately, the point here is I can access, okay, the properties from two different parents like this. Got it? So I can do that. Make sense? So like this, guys, you can practice with respect to these small basic things over here. Now, one more thing, that how to access parent members, okay, how to access parent members in a child class. So I'll do one thing, let me create one more class over here, and my class name is, let's see, access parent class members. Okay, this is my file name. Now see it carefully, it's very simple example I'm giving. Class, let's say I'm creating one base class, and I'm writing object, okay, and I'm creating the constructor of this particular class init, and in this particular constructor I'm passing x, and I'm simply writing self.x is equal to x. Okay, this is the parent class. I'm going to create one child class over here. Okay, the child class, and inside the child class, what I'm going to do, this is the child of base class. Simple, write it like this. I'm going to create the constructor of this particular child class in itself, and here I'm taking, let's see, x comma y, and simple I'm writing what? I'm simple writing, now see it carefully what exactly I'm doing over here. I'm writing base dot x. So base dot x means this particular x I'm trying to access. So you can access class members can be accessed in derived class using base class name. It means the class members, the parent class members can be accessed by class name, the parent class name inside the child class like this. So that's why I'm able to do that. Base dot x, okay, is equal to x. So whatever the x that you are passing, it will be given to this guy, right? And then this y I'm using with the same child class. Okay, so self.y this, okay, y I'm giving to this particular guy, but this x, whatever the value, okay, over here we are giving to base dot x. I mean, whatever the value that you are passing, you are giving to base dot x over here. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is in child class you can access base class, okay, variables with the help of class name. Like this you can do it, right? And then in the same class, let's see, I'm going to create one method, definition, let's see, print, give me some method name, let's see, print work. Okay, this is my method name, print work, and I'm simple printing what? I'm printing two things, base dot x, right, and self dot y, base dot x and self dot y. And in the method also, see, in the constructor also I'm able to access, and in the method also I can access base dot x. Base dot x means this particular x I'm talking about, right? Now I'll write my test code. So just to check this particular test code, I'm going to create the object of child class. So let's say I'm going to create the object of child class ob is equal to child, right, is equal to child. And obviously the constructor of child class is having two parameters, x and y. So let's say I'm passing 10 comma 20, 10 comma 20. So the moment I call this, this guy will be called, right, and base dot x 10 will be given to base dot x. So this x will be initialized with 10, right, and then 20 will be given to y and this y will be initialized with 20. And then what I'm going to do with the help of this ob dot, I'm simply saying print work, call this particular method print work. So base dot x, it means this x got initialized with 10 and self dot y got initialized with 20. So now I can access x with the help of base class name, and then if you run it, let's see, I'm getting 10 and 20, right? Like this also guys, you can do it. So if you write self.x, that also you can write it, but I really want to show you that, okay, how can you access parent class variables? So I can access parent class variables, the I mean the class members I can access, okay, in the child class also with the help of what? With the help of parent class name directly. So here we don't have any concept of static and non-static, just like in Java that all the static variables only can be accessed by class name. But here you can do like this as well. Okay. In the next session, I'll tell you how can you use super keyword and how can you access the parent class members using the super keyword and all those things. Yes, we do have super keywords, okay, in Python. But for today, I think that is more than enough for you guys. Please practice. It's very simple, little confusing, but guys, once you practice it, I'm pretty much sure that, okay, it will be cleared automatically. But remember always one thing, for interview point of view, a class can inherit the properties from multiple parent classes. It means multiple inheritance is allowed in Python. Okay. Cool. So that's all for today. That's all for this particular session, guys. I hope you guys are learning from my videos about Python, and keep watching, keep learning, and keep watching Naveen Automation Labs. Thank you so much, guys.